Yeah, yeah.
Awesome. Okay, well, good morning, everyone. My name is Michaela. I am with Idaptic. We're going to be talking all about our glasses today and our latest product. Steve, you can kind of help me walk through how you guys normally do these, but I assume at least what I like to do is keep these kind of things super informal. So if anyone has any questions, feel free to hop in or send something in the chat, and we can, make sure we cover that as well. Um, Kind of starting from the very basics, we here at Idaptic focus on wearables for low vision, primarily for central vision loss. So most of our users, we see a lot of macular degeneration, Stargardt's disease, we see diabetic retinopathy, all sorts of different things as long as you've got some remaining peripheral vision. Okay, that's kind of how our wearables work. Now, right now at Idaptic, we have two different models of wearables that we are offering. We have our i5 and our i6. I'll show you here what they look like in just a little bit, but they are the same hardware. The difference is going to come down to the features that they offer in terms of the software. So depending on, if you're someone with low vision, or someone with low vision, right? One or the other might be better in terms of the features that you want. And I'll cover kind of what those look like as well and what the difference is. Okay. So what I'm going to do here is pull up my screen so we can see what the glasses look like.
And
And
sorry if I can just insert here.
please
Somebody
do.
did point out that chat is disabled. However, the
Oh,
Q&A option is enabled. So if you have questions, type them into the Q&A and we will get to them. You can also raise your hand and we will be able to enable your microphone if you have a verbal question.
perfect. Awesome. Thanks, Steve. Appreciate it. Okay, so let me just get my screen sharing here. Too many windows open, so let me make sure I get the right thing. Okay. So what I'm going to show you guys first is actually just a quick testimonial here of a couple of our users who have our glasses. I just think it's super interesting to hear from, real life people. These are actually folks that came to us with low vision, looking for something that would help them. And a little bit of backstory. I've met both of these individuals in person. They're huge advocates for us, which is amazing. But it's been such a joy to be able to see the change that we've been able to, make in their life when they have the Idaptic wearable glasses. So I'm going to show you a video here in a second of John. He is one of our users. He's had our glasses for about 2 years. He actually is a professional poker player. He plays poker at the Wynn in Las Vegas, and he actually is a little bit of a unique story because he has retinitis pigmentosa, which isn't central vision loss. I know I just said our glasses are for folks with central vision loss. So kind of the point of that story is, that's not a hard and fast rule. We do see the most success with central vision loss, but we have helped people kind of with other eye conditions as well. So he is RP. He got to the point where he could no longer play poker. He couldn't see the cards, right? And this was his livelihood, right? It wasn't just a hobby. This was how he supported himself. So for him, he came to us looking for something to help. And what he actually does, I actually got to go out to Vegas and see him use these glasses live, which was incredible for playing poker. But we have a lot of different modes when you're wearing the glasses, right? And again, you'll see what they look like here in just a minute. But one of the main things we can do is we have a lot of different forms of contrast enhancement. So for John with his RP, he puts them into like white on black. I think it is, yeah, white on black. He does inverted, and he's actually able to see the cards in that way. So there's like a white strip around the poker table. He can see that in white. The table looks black, and he can kind of pull his cards up. And when he sees him cross that line, he peeks his cards up. He's able to look at his cards, and he can continue playing. Okay, so I'm going to show you a video of that. And then I'll also show you a quick video of Gloria. She also has had our glasses for about 3 years. And she came to us because she wanted to be able to see her grandkids play sports. Specifically, they were playing lacrosse at the time, and she could not, for the life of her, see which one was her grandkid, right? And so that was a big thing for her. She, didn't care about reading. She didn't care about TV. She just wanted to be able to go and cheer on her grandkids and see which one was which. Now, with that being said, Our glasses can help with a variety of activities. The three most common requests we get are watching TV, reading, and seeing faces. Okay, so, but beyond that, we've got people doing all sorts of stuff. So I'll show you here what the glasses look like. We'll take a look at those videos, and then we'll talk about more of the features that the glasses can do as well. Okay, so, oops. I'm just going to head to our website where the videos are here. And that's Gloria actually wearing the glasses right there. We'll take a look at the video. So this is what the glasses look like. They are very lightweight. They're about 80 grams. So, you know, super comfortable. I say they look kind of like futuristic sunglasses. And then they are, you can kind of see in this picture here, I'll find a better one, but they are wired to a smartphone remote control device. That's going to be how you control the glasses, okay? And the glasses, here's another picture, so you can see they're wired to that smartphone. Now, the glasses themselves, how they work is they have a camera in the center and then two kind of TV screens that sit one in front of each eye. Okay, and essentially what you're doing is you're seeing the world through this camera, which allows us to kind of manipulate that image, and we're essentially providing a stronger image to that peripheral vision that, you know, folks with central vision loss still have, and they're still able to see using that remaining peripheral vision. I did see a question here. Can I compare and contrast Idaptic with OrCam? I absolutely can do that, and we'll talk a little bit about the difference in our models and the contrast of that as well. So let me show you the videos first, and then we'll hop into kind of some of the differences and some of the features that we offer. I just like to show these videos because they give, you know, real world examples. I could just talk at you, but I'm a little biased, right? So here's John. Let me know if there's any issues with the sound if you guys can't hear it.
Hi, my name is Sean Michael Mahler. I've been legally blind since I was 18. So on a daily basis, I can't see anything anymore. My peripheral vision was lost, but in the most recent years, my central acuity had declined where I couldn't really see anymore. My favorite thing is that I am able to recreationally or professionally go back to playing poker for as long as I can. I've been playing poker all my life. I'm known as a cash game specialist, and I've had success on some of the tours. But the last 2 or 3 years of my life, I couldn't see my cards anymore, so I had to give up poker. For some people, you wouldn't think that would be a big deal, but just the fact that I can, it's an overwhelming experience. It really is. It's a game changer and it's a life changer. Without these glasses, or before this technology came along, I would never be able to play poker the rest of my life. The glasses have literally made a blind person see again. The most challenging things for me were daily living skills. With Idaptic glasses now, I'm able to, without braille dots, use the microwave, retrieve my mail, of course, read prescription bottles, things that, you know, you take for granted when you're a sighted person. But with the glasses now, I'm able to do all that on my own instead of asking for a sighted person. Ivy's done a lot of things for me. I knew that the capability, because I'm a big AI user to begin with. But what's really cool using the glasses is pairing my socks. And, you know, again, for sighted people, that doesn't seem like much, but for a blind person, if you don't buy all your socks the same, it's hard to pair them. Also, if I drop something on the floor, like a Bluetooth headset, normally I won't be able to find it. I'd be on my hands and knees looking for it. If they're on the floor, she'll tell me exactly where they are, 5 steps forward, 3 to the left, which I found was just overwhelming the first time I used it. I was laughing. Yeah. Because it was so breathtaking, honestly.
So that was John. I'm going to show you Gloria, and then I will kind of walk you through some of the features he was referring to.
My name is Gloria Barone. I have macular degeneration, and I've had it for 17 years. I've lost a lot of my vision, central vision particularly. I really enjoy using Ivy, my visual assistant, for reading articles because I can take pictures of it and ask Ivy to read it to me, which is nice because then I don't have to worry about the missing letters or a missing word. It's actually there. She reads it for me. I like using the glasses. The reason that we got them was because we had grandchildren in sports. Usually I'd be sitting there and I would just be sitting there. And my husband would tell me what was going on so that I could at least feel part of the game. when I got the classes, it was great because he'd say, okay, there's Gavin or there's Karina. And then I could follow them and I could actually watch them go down to the goal. It was amazing. I mean, it was like opened up a world for me because before I could see like a whole group of kids running or blur, but then I could actually watch my watching the kids play lacrosse was amazing. That was just like the topper because I really felt like I wasn't a part of it and I could.
Okay, so there's my little spiel for you guys. Let's talk about some of those features. We'll talk about what we can offer versus like Orcam or some of the other wearables out there as well. So I'm going to stop sharing my screen here for a second. So as I mentioned, we currently have two models. We have the i5 and the i6, and yes, I will talk about eSight as well. I just saw that question pop in. So the i5 and the i6, they both offer what we call visual enhancement. Essentially, you're wearing the glasses and you can see again, right? You can see people's faces, you can read yourself, maybe you're watching TV. I've got people doing all sorts of stuff, like I said, right? Things that, sighted folks take for granted, clipping your toenails, right? All sorts of things that you can now do because you have that enhancement by wearing the glasses, right? And how the enhancement works, so we have a bunch of different features that you can do. Kind of the main one that you're going to use the most is magnification. Okay, so you're wearing the glasses, you're controlling them from the remote control smartphone. There's a kind of a zoom slider you can use to slide up and down. You can increase from one times magnification to 10 times magnification, and you can go up in half-step increments. So that's going to be kind of the first main feature most people use. On top of that, we can make adjustments like brightness, right? So I've got some folks who come in who are maybe really light sensitive, right? So instead of wanting the glasses and kind of those screens they're looking out of to be super bright, we can decrease that brightness, right? Or on the flip side, I have some folks a lot of times with AMD who need that extra light, right? They'll come in telling me, I can only read when I have a lamp on and a magnifier and all these different things, right? And now they can just put the glasses on, turn up that magnification, set the brightness up, and they're good to go, right? I talked about those contrast settings we can do. We can do things like white on black, black on white. I can also just increase the contrast overall. We also have a feature called bright text that essentially puts like a white halo around text and objects, kind of making things appear bolder or more defined. I do have some videos of these features working as well that I can show here shortly. We also have a cool feature called auto zoom that essentially zooms or magnifies for you. Okay, so it will detect when you're looking at text, or you can also do it with faces, and it's going to zoom in for you. And you can kind of adjust that. Like if it zooms in and you say, I need it bigger, you can make it bigger, and it will remember next time that you look at text that size that you wanted it bigger, okay, rather than you having to use that zoom slider yourself. And then one of my favorite features is we have a mode called eye switch, which essentially a little confusing until you can try the glasses. I will show a video here of that as well. And Gloria actually showed it in that video earlier. We have two cameras with our device, okay? We have the camera on your head, on the glasses. That makes sense. As I look around the room, that's what I'm seeing in the glasses. Pretty intuitive. But because we're connected to the smartphone remote control, there's a camera on the back of that smartphone as well. Okay, so for anyone who has a smartphone, if you were to go and like take a picture or take a video, you're using the camera on the back of that smartphone. Okay, so we can actually switch into a mode where instead of moving my head and using the camera on the glasses, I can actually move my hand, point the camera on that remote control, and I'm gonna see it in the glasses. So the remote control essentially becomes like a handheld magnifier. Okay, I can still zoom in, I can still do all these contrast things, all the stuff we just talked about, but instead of moving my head, I'm moving my hand. This is great for like really small text I need to get up close to, right? It's just also kind of a better camera, so you get a really sharp, clear image. A lot of people like that mode for like watching TV. Okay, we do also have the option to save favorites. So for example, let's say you read the newspaper every morning and you know, hey, I like 3 times zoom, white on black, and brightness at 100%, right? Instead of needing to set those every time I go and read the paper in the morning, I can just go ahead and save that as a favorite. Every time I go and do that activity, I hit that favorite and it sets all of that for me. Okay, so a lot of different things we can do. That's not even skimming the surface. Now, that's the visual enhancement component. Okay, that's literally what I'm seeing in the glasses. This is where John said he literally made a blind man see, right? He couldn't see his cards before. He puts the glasses on. He can physically see them again with some of those adjustments. Now, the i6, okay, this is the model we just recently came out with in August of last year, can do all of that, okay, all of that visual enhancement, but we also add in our AI visual assistant. Okay, so now in the glasses, you might have heard John and Gloria hinting at it a little bit. Now in the glasses, you have an assistant named Ivy. Think like Siri or Alexa or any of those kind of assistants, but much, much smarter. Okay, so with Ivy in the glasses, how that works is we can take a picture of text we want to read, or maybe a room we want her to describe, right? A picture, a painting, anything we want her to describe or read or summarize or tell us about. We can take that picture and we can ask her about it. Okay, Ivy, there's no key words you need to remember. You can go back and forth and have that conversation with her and ask follow-up questions. She's also an assistant in the sense that you don't have to take a picture. I could ask her, Ivy, I'm traveling next week. How many miles is it from LAX to JFK? She's going to tell me how many miles it is. Okay, so we got all of those different kind of opportunities that we can do when we add on the assistant in the i6. And again, we'll take a look at more videos. I do have a bunch of questions popping in, so I want to make sure I address those, and then we'll kind of see what some of this looks like. Okay, so someone asked about Idaptic versus Orcam, and then also eSight. So great question. What I always like to say is, Idaptic isn't for everybody. That is why we generally require that you get a demonstration. There is a subgroup of individuals with central vision loss and with visual acuities in a certain range that Idaptic's going to help. So, if you find something that works for you, fantastic. In terms of what we can offer versus Orcam or eSight, we are currently the only low vision device that offers both enhancement and assistance. So, for example, with Orcam, right? Orcam, you can do the assistant component, right? They're not actually helping you physically see. You can't go watch TV with Orcam or see the faces of your loved ones, right? With Orcam. You can have Orcam read to you. They can tell you how many dollar bills you have in front of you, what color things are, but that's just you listening to their kind of assistant, right? None of that actual vision that you're getting from Orcam. On the flip side, eSight, just vision. Okay, no assistance. They're giving you that vision. Yeah, you could go watch TV, you could see faces, but you don't have that opportunity to have that assistant if you want. Plus, eSight is a lot heavier. Idaptic is the lightest wearable on the market currently. Okay, so eSight, another newest one. I think they have like a headset you wear kind of, or like a speaker, or microphone, or battery, I think it is actually, you wear kind of around your neck, plus the glasses. The glasses are a bit heavier, so they are the lightest on the market right now, plus they offer both the enhancement and the assistance. Okay, so when you come back to looking at most of the other kind of low vision devices or wearables, that's going to be the main difference, is we are the only one that's going to offer both. Okay. And then someone was asking about pricing, warranty, support, and all of that kind of stuff. So let's talk about that in a little bit, about how that's going to work. So we'll come back to that unless that's pressing. And then one more question about the refresh rate of the internal screen. Yeah, so that's a good question. In terms of like the amount of hertz it is in terms of refresh rate, I'm not going to go into the details of that. I'm going to kind of keep it simple. But in terms of how that works when you're wearing the glasses, there is a slight lag. That's why we say no driving, no power tools with the glasses, just because they're not 100% perfect real time. Okay, we are using a camera. Camera image has to be processed, and it is presenting it on those displays. I will say that it's hardly noticeable, right? So when you're wearing the glasses, it's not like you move your head, you wait 3 seconds for it to show up in front of your screen, right? It's hardly noticeable. But again, when it comes to like those safety concerns, no driving, no power tools, just because there is that slight lag. Okay, good question. I do want to show a couple videos here of how some of these features work, and then we'll come back to kind of the logistical questions we had here. And good questions, you guys keep them coming. I love questions. Okay, so I'm going to share my screen again. Let's go to this one. Okay, so this is actually what I would show if someone had our glasses and I was kind of teaching them or training them how to use them. Okay, so this kind of gives you a good idea of how some of these features work. We'll see if my videos are going to load here. Okay, so super simple. This is what our home screen looks like on the smartphone. When you connect up the glasses, the screen comes up automatically. There's not really any setup that needs to be done. And then what you're seeing in this video is just simple magnification, right? We talked about being able to go from 1 to 10 times zoom. As you zoom in, I think my videos here are a little laggy, but you can see that as you zoom in, you're going to get things bigger. As you zoom out, they're going to get smaller, right? And I'm going to skip here to, this is eye switch, okay? This is that mode I was talking about where we can use the camera in the phone, okay? So what you're going to see here on the left, this is me showing an example. In the phone, I'm going to switch into the camera on the phone, and I'm going to kind of read along looking at some text here so you can see what that looks like. So instead of moving my head, I'm going to move my hand, right? And on the right, you're seeing what I'm seeing in the glasses. So this is through the camera in the glasses. You can see I was moving my head. I'm going to tap eye switch. Now I'm going to move my hand, but I'm still seeing this through the glasses, right? The right screen is what I'm actually seeing in the glasses. So I don't need to move my head, just moving my hand. This is that no magnification, right? So if I were to zoom in, this is going to get even bigger, but you can see how clear of an image that is through the camera, and I can just move my hand instead of needing to move my head. A lot of people like to get like a stand, like a phone stand. You can stick it in the stand. It basically becomes like a portable CCTV, right? Put it in the stand, point it down towards my text, now I can read. Or point it towards the TV, now I can watch TV, sit back on the couch and relax. I don't even need to be facing the screen because the phone is doing the work, pointed at the TV screen, and I'm seeing it in the glasses. Okay. I talked about bright text. This is that one of those contrast modes. So it's a subtle change. Not everyone can see it depending on your vision, but you can see in the video here if it's on, there's kind of like a white halo that appears around that text. This also works for objects, like people like to use it when they're looking at faces. It kind of makes facial features appear a little bit brighter or bolder or more defined. Okay, and then we talked about contrast. So I can do things like white on black, black on white in this case, or white on black. And then I can go back to normal. I don't have a video of it here, but we can also just physically increase and decrease the contrast as well. You know, for someone who might have severe contrast loss, that can be very helpful. Brightness, pretty straightforward. Again, all of these features are very easy to use. We keep the user interface as simple as possible, you know, to try to eliminate any questions we have, make it very straightforward to use, right? And then you can see at the bottom, I think I do have a video of setting the favorites here at the bottom where you can save your favorites if you wanted to, but that comes later. So I also talked about auto zoom. I'm going to show you a quick video of how that works. So here's text, okay? If we're in the text mode and I turn it on, it's going to automatically zoom in on text. So instead of, I'm not dragging that zoom slider, it's adjusting based on the size of the text. So bigger text, it's going to zoom out, smaller text, it's going to zoom in. And then you'll see here, I shake my head and it zooms back out to 1. And then I look at text and it zooms in again. Okay, so that's kind of how that auto zoom mode works. We can do that with text or faces. Okay, I'm going to exit out of here. We're going to talk about Ivy here. I see some questions coming in about Ivy. So Ivy, our AI assistant, I'm going to show you a video here of how she works. Someone asked if she requires internet connection. Yes, you do need an internet connection to use Ivy the assistant. In terms of the i6, that's the main difference is the assistant, right? i5 and i6 essentially the same. If you want the extra assistant, that Ivy assistant, then you get the i6. If you just want the visual component, no assistant, you could just get the i5. So if you want the i6, that does require a monthly subscription to have access to that assistant. We have a couple different options with a wide price range as well, depending on kind of what features you want and how much you're going to be using it. I'm talking about this now because it does address to the question of internet, right? So you can always connect to Wi-Fi and use Ivy the assistant, okay? Let's say you're at home, you're at a friend's house, a family member's house, you can connect to Wi-Fi, good to go, no problems. Now we do have an option as one of our subscription options to be able to actually get a SIM card in that remote control smartphone. And then you actually get like a 5G data connection and you can take Ivy anywhere. So I've got people going to the grocery store and using her, to restaurants to read the menu, to the airport, all these places where it might not be so easy to connect to Wi-Fi or they might not have access to Wi-Fi and they don't have to worry about it. They can just go use Ivy, no questions asked. Okay. You can also use like a hotspot as well. So for example, if you didn't have the SIM card version, you just had the Wi-Fi version. If you have a hotspot on like your personal phone or something like that, you can connect to that as well. But yes, you do need that internet connection to use Ivy.
I should mention that the SIM card option isn't an option in Canada, so we need to use
Really
the
good point.
Wi-Fi one.
You're so right. You're so right. We don't have international on that. Thanks, Steve. I appreciate you jumping in on that. Okay. Good point. If anyone's in the US, we do have that option, but you're right, we're not international with that yet. Someone asked about clarify if the device is taking a picture or is providing a live view when reading content. So really good question. If you're using the visual enhancement, it's providing a live view, okay? I could physically sit there, pull up my newspaper, my book, whatever I'm reading. I could zoom in, I could change the contrast, and I can physically move my head and read along. Now, if I have the assistant, that's when I take a picture, and I can do both of these simultaneously. So for example, I could take a picture of my newspaper article, I could ask Ivy to read it, and then I could zoom in or maybe change that contrast, and I could actually read along while she's reading it to me. Okay, so the picture component is only if we're using that AI assistant, but you can always, even while she's talking, even while she's reading to you, always zoom in and do any of those visual enhancement adjustments that we talked about earlier. So you could read along with her or, switch off between, or maybe you're reading when it's a little bit bigger text, but then you get to the small text on the fine print at the bottom that you want to read, and then you'll ask Ivy to read that for you, right? What guarantee is there of the Ivy service being ongoing? Like Humane AI and the Rabbit only lasted a year and now they're useless. Really good question. So at Idaptic, we are actually using OpenAI's ChatGPT for Ivy. So we are using that service. In terms of that availability, there's always new stuff coming out. So we're not stuck on that, I would say. We are always looking at different opportunities to support our AI assistant. And if there's something better out there, something faster, whatever it is, we are looking at that so that, I from my understanding, can tell you that's going to continue. That is also the direction everything is moving, right? So there's always going to be something out there that's going to be better. We here at Idaptic, I actually run our beta user program. We're always having users give us feedback, telling us what they want, right? And that is so, so important, critical to make sure we are solving real life problems, not just doing what we think users need, right? So if people are going to continue wanting the AI, we're going to continue trying to improve that. Couple more questions coming in here. Is a subscription required? A subscription was only required if you want the assistant. If you just want the visual components, essentially you just want the i5, you just purchase it, no subscription needed. If you want the AI assistant, there is a subscription. Again, we come back to the international, Steve. I'm glad you brought that up because how we're doing subscriptions internationally, I believe as well. I think we're doing like yearly subscriptions for that too. So that's something we can discuss if we haven't talked about that yet. So that's kind of how that would likely work for international. So the subscription's only required if you want the AI assistant. Is there a potential to use a locally operated llama on a local GPU stack? There is potential. We're looking at a lot of different options in terms of how we use the AI. So that's definitely something that could be used in the future. Absolutely. Okay, lots of good questions, you guys. Keep them coming in. Okay, let me show you a quick video of how Ivy works. Let me pull this up. So this is a little promo video. This one's just kind of fun to watch. We just, took a painting we found on the internet, I think, and we just asked Ivy to describe it. And it was kind of cool to see, how she described it. What you'll see here is Ivy tends to be a little bit verbose. She likes to give a lot of detail, but what's nice about Ivy is you can ask her to respond however you want. You could say, can you just summarize this? Don't give me a bunch of information. Or, hey, Ivy, can you go into a ton of detail about this, right? And what we found is a lot of low vision folks like that extra detail, right? Because they want to hear about it. They can't necessarily see all that detail. They want to know. So Ivy's describing the color. She's describing, everything she sees, which is awesome. But, you don't have to do that. So this video, she's a little verbose. I think it's fun to kind of watch how she breaks this down. But like I said, no key words. You can fully just go back and forth and have that conversation and ask her to respond however you want. So that's kind of fun. So let me share my screen. We'll watch this video and then I'll kind of show you a real life one as well.
Hey, Ivy, what am I looking at?
The image depicts a serene mountain landscape during what appears to be sunset. In the foreground, there's a small wooden cabin with a chimney, next to which is a lively campfire with flames and embers visible. A mountain bike is standing on the grass to the right of the campfire. In the background, majestic mountains with snow patches rise dramatically against the sky, which is painted with warm hues of orange and yellow, suggesting the sun is setting. A large bird, possibly an eagle, is in flight on the right side of the image, adding a sense of wilderness and freedom to the scene. The overall atmosphere is peaceful and picturesque.
Introducing Eyedaptic's visual assistant, Ivy, seeing smarter to elevate independence.
Okay, so that was just a little promo video when she was first released, but I like it because it gives you an idea of kind of how she's going to answer those questions. And again, you can ask her to be more specific, less specific. I'll give you some fun examples of what I've seen users use her for. You saw John talk about pairing his socks. I love that example. He physically will lay out all his socks on the bed when he's doing laundry. He'll take a picture for Ivy and he'll ask her to match his socks. And she will literally say, oh, the one on the left is blue. It goes with the 1/3 from the right, whatever. And she'll match his socks. Okay. I had another user who this one was kind of silly, but I mean, again, things that, sighted people take for granted, that we have to be able to see what people with low vision go through and what, all the things we wouldn't normally think of. So they were coming home. They have a dog. They took a picture of their lawn and they asked Ivy if there was any dog poop on the lawn so they didn't step in it on the way. And Ivy told her, yes, there was, and exactly where it was, what, bush it was next to. Okay. I've had people go into the fridge and ask Ivy, where's the mustard and what else can I make with it based on what's in my fridge? Okay, so she's, adding that extra visual and a visual assistant component of being able to describe things, locate things for you, read things. But again, I like that word assistant because she's also there to help you with a lot of other things you might not normally think about. Okay. We have a lot of things coming with Ivy. As I said earlier, we all know AI is kind of where the rest of the world is going. We're going to continue to follow that as well. We've had great success with Ivy. People are loving it. We're going to take all that feedback and see what we can do to improve it. The nice thing about Ivy and that subscription is if you have Ivy, you have that subscription set up, we are always working to improve her. That's included. We send it out as automatic updates, so they happen automatically, and Ivy's always getting better. We're always adding new features that will be available to users. Okay, so we have a lot of stuff coming. Things we're looking at, for example, are going to be like voice commands, right? So being able to ask Ivy, zoom in for me, right? Turn up the brightness. So instead of needing to do it yourself with that smartphone, we can just ask Ivy to do it, right? So there's a lot of stuff that we're working on, beyond that I can't quite talk about yet, but that is definitely coming soon with our assistant. So, that's where the future is headed. We're going to continue to go in that direction as well. But as I said, because we are the only company that's going to offer both the visual enhancement and the visual assistance, we are looking at both sides, right? We're always seeing what we can do to improve the camera image, always seeing what we can do to improve the screens, all these different things that are going to make the most difference for users when they want to be able to see again and then get that extra step from the assistant as well. Okay. What other questions do we have? It looks like a couple more came in here. Oh, no, maybe not. Okay. I think I've answered all the questions. If anyone has more, please send them in the chat or raise your hand, whatever you want to do. And then let's see. I'm going to stop sharing my screen. I can pull up one more video here. Okay, let's see. Bear with me. I'm just going to show you a quick example of what Ivy can do here. Okay, so again, this is me talking at you, but I'm going to share my screen here. And I'll skip to some of the more interesting parts. Okay. Hi, my name is Michaela, and today we're going to be talking about some suggestions of common questions we can ask Ivy. Okay, so risk of low vision conditions. She could read the ingredients on the side of my cracker box. She could read the signs at a grocery store, all sorts of stuff. When we put the glasses on, we can take a picture using the camera in the glasses. Or, especially when we're reading, if we have some really small text, like in our magazine here, we can actually use the camera in the phone as well. Ivy can do much more than just reading. Another common question we can ask Ivy is to describe a room to us. If we want to do this, we can take a picture and ask Ivy, what am I looking at? When we ask her this question, she'll give us a detailed response about the room or scene that we're in. For example, we can have her describe a room. I could take a picture and say, Ivy, what am I looking at?
You're looking at an indoor setting with a black leather sofa that has a blue and white striped cushion on it. To the left of the sofa, there's a small black table with a potted plant on top. To the right of the sofa, there's another potted plant on the floor and a tall floor lamp with a square white shade. The room appears to be a waiting area or a casual office lounge.
By painting such a vivid description, she really makes you feel like you can see the entire room. Also, she can locate objects for me. I could take a picture and say, Ivy, where's my water bottle?
Your water bottle is on the table to the right of your laptop. It's a blue bottle with a black lid.
Now, we can also ask Ivy very specific questions. For example, if I were to take a picture of this cracker box here, I could take a picture of the ingredients and ask her how many calories are in these crackers. I could ask her how many crackers are in a serving, how many grams of protein. She can get very specific about whatever we ask her as long as she can see it in the picture. I also mentioned that we can ask Ivy a question without taking a picture. For example, I could ask her, what year did the Dodgers win the World Series? Now, Ivy is available in over 50 languages. We can ask her questions in different languages, and she'll respond to us in that language. We could take a picture of something in one language, and she'll translate it into a different language for us. The options are limitless, meaning anyone can use Ivy. Okay, I'm going to stop it here. So she's actually available in 99 plus languages now. So as you can see, like I said, we're always improving what we have, what we can offer. So that kind of translation one is fun. But those were some kind of real life examples of what you would see from Ivy. Again, this is just a video depicting it. So what you would see, like if you took that picture, in this video, it was kind of freezing it and showing you, take a picture of the couch. She's describing everything and it kind of froze that image while she described it. When you're really wearing the glasses, it doesn't kind of freeze that image. You can continue to look around the room. You could get up and walk away and she's still going to give you that answer in your glasses about the picture that you took. Okay, so that's kind of some real world examples. We had one more question come in here about Jody asked, can you please give an overview? What features does it have without any phone or internet? What can it do with a phone but no internet? And what can it do with just internet or both? So in terms of the phone, you're always wired to the phone. It is a wired connection from the glasses to that remote control phone. I like to call it a remote control more so than phone, just because that's really what it is. You're not going to be doing any phone features with it. It is actually a remote control phone that comes with it. It's not like you're connecting it to your phone. Okay, it does come with the device exclusive with those glasses. You are always wired because that's how actually the glasses are being powered. The reason our glasses are so nice and lightweight is because they're getting that power from that remote control phone. So that also means you only have to charge the phone. You don't have to charge the glasses. As long as the remote control phone has power and you connect your glasses with that cable, with that wire, your glasses are going to have power. So you do always need the phone, the remote control phone, to be connected. Now, in terms of internet, you only need internet if you want to use the assistant. So how that works is if I want to just zoom, I want to change contrast, I want to use brightness, I want to switch into using the camera in the remote control phone, right? I can do all of that without internet. The only thing I need internet for is using that assistant. Now, again, I could have the i6 with the assistant, and I could, let's say, leave the house where I have no Wi-Fi. And I can go to the grocery store and still zoom in and do all that stuff to physically read. I just can't ask the assistant unless I have that Wi-Fi. But let's say then I go home and I want her to read the newspaper for me, then I could ask the assistant that question once I've connected to internet, right? So that's really the only time you need internet, is if you want to actually use that assistant in that moment. You can always do the visual enhancement features, okay? And then obviously when you have internet, you can do both. Right. And then Jody followed up with, is there any voice control for users who struggle with manual dexterity? So really good question. At the current moment, if you purchase the i6, there are no voice control options. That is something we are currently in development for, and that is definitely coming. Okay, so that will be here in the future. At the current moment, if using like a phone remote control, you kind of saw in those images I showed earlier, you press on those buttons, you zoom in, all that kind of stuff. If that's challenging to either have the dexterity to use a phone, to see the remote control phone, we do have an accessory pack that can be purchased. One of the items that comes with the accessory pack is actually this little remote control, okay? It kind of pops in and out, if you can see me here in the video. It comes in a little ring, or you can also, it comes with a keychain you can attach it to. Most people like to slide it on their finger and then use their thumb to control it. And you can see there's kind of these little bumps on here, one big, one small, for me to feel. Essentially what this is you connect this remote control via Bluetooth. Now you still need to be wired to the remote control phone. Remember, that's how I said we're getting power to the glasses. But I could go and tuck that remote control phone in my pocket or in a purse or something, or a bag, and I could use just this remote control. It has physical buttons for me to feel. We add those bumps so you don't have to worry about trying to use or see a screen. I can feel for these buttons, and this controls some of the main features like zoom, contrast, bright text, all that kind of stuff. So kind of that interim before we have that voice control, or let's say you want the i5 with no assistant, right? So we wouldn't have that voice control anyways. Then you could always get this if kind of manual dexterity with a phone screen is an issue. Okay. Someone asked about connecting the phone remote control to Bluetooth hearing aids. The phone can connect to Bluetooth like headphones. Hearing aids specifically often are already connected to Bluetooth to your phone. So unless your hearing aids will let you connect to multiple Bluetooth items, you might not be able to. It just depends on your particular hearing aids and what they allow in terms of Bluetooth connections. Or I don't know if you can disconnect it from your phone and if they'll still work and you connect it to ours. You could try that. It just depends on your particular hearing aids, but you can connect them to Bluetooth devices. So for example, if I wanted to wear my earbuds, I could connect that to Bluetooth and I could hear Ivy in through my Ivy the assistant in my earbuds instead of out of the glasses speaker. I hope that answers your question, Owen. Chris asked, can I use my own OpenAI ChatGPT account? You cannot. We have Ivy set up specifically as a low vision assistant. So while we are using ChatGPT, we have a lot of customized features we've added in there. So you can't use your own. That's kind of what that subscription covers. Okay. Jody, awesome. I'm glad that answered your question. You also followed up with, can you use other phone apps with Idaptic helping you to see the screen? Good question. Right now, no. I did say, it comes with that phone remote control. You're not connecting it to yours. That also means that we essentially, and again, this is why I said it's a remote control, not really a phone, because it kind of actually locks down that phone. You can't do anything except control our glasses with the app that comes, already on the phone. So nothing else is going to work. I know if you have like Seeing AI or something on your personal phone, you can't get that on the Idaptic phone. We do keep it nice and big. Okay, in terms of when you're using our app to control the glasses, it is easy to use. It's nice and big. It's pretty straightforward. If you have trouble seeing the screen, you can actually use the glasses to see the screen. Or again, that's where the external remote comes in. Or when we have that voice control in the future, that will kind of covered that as well. So really good question. Does the processing power of the phone affect the functions of the glasses at all? Do you mean like for battery life or something like that? Jody, if you want to follow up, I'm a little confused on your question. I want to make sure I answer that properly, but I can talk about battery while I wait for your response. So because you're connected to that phone remote control, that's powering the glasses. The phone remote control and phone remote control and glasses together, total, when you're using the glasses, you get about 2 to 2.5 hours of battery life. For most people, that's enough because you're not going to wear these glasses all day. Okay, you're going to just wear these for specific activities. I want to sit down and watch a movie. Great. I want to read my book for an hour. Perfect. I'm sitting at the dinner table playing cards with my family. Awesome. Okay. If you're someone who needs more than that 2 or 2.5 hours, I've got people working all day. I have someone, who's a family therapist. He sees, patients all day. He wears his glasses to be able to see their faces, right? He works 8-hour days. What he does and what John, I showed you the poker player, John will actually, when he's in a tournament, he will play for 16 hours straight with our glasses. Okay, and the way he's able to do that is I mentioned that accessory pack you can purchase earlier that comes with the extra remote control, Bluetooth remote control. The other thing that comes with is a adapter that essentially allows you to charge the glasses while you're using them. Okay, you're doing that with like an external battery. So for example, John with his 16 hours, he has 2 external batteries. They both give him 8 hours and he just swaps them out. When one dies, he plugs in the other, he gets another 8 hours. So for folks who need more than that 2.5 hours, that's always an option, okay? And Jody's asking, is any image processing being done on the phone? No, yes, I mean, the phone is not only your battery, it's also, you know how we say like smart glasses, smartphone? I say if the glasses aren't connected to the phone, they're dumb glasses. Okay, what makes them smart glasses is connecting them to the phone. That's how you control it. That's where all the processing power is. That's what's giving the battery to the glasses. And that's why our glasses are so lightweight and comfortable. You don't have all the extra electronics and processing power in the glasses. It's all in that remote control smartphone. Okay, so that's where you get your 2.5 hours of battery is the phone is doing all that processing. So I know you said, hey, my personal smartphone lasts me 2 days without charging it. Why can't the Idaptic phone do that? Because to your point, Jody, it is handling all of that processing for the glasses. So for those folks who need a longer battery life, that's where you'll get that adapter as part of our accessory pack. Okay, sure. Chris asked, can it be used to mirror a phone screen to the glasses video? Okay, really good question. When you are connected to the Idaptic remote control phone, you cannot mirror a phone screen. If you want to be able to like zoom in, change the brightness, change the contrast, you have to be connected to the Idaptic phone. Technically, if you were to unplug the glasses from the Idaptic phone and plug it into like a computer, it would just mirror the screen, but you lose all of the processing that our smartphone can do. So you can't zoom in, you can't change the brightness, you can't do any of that stuff. So in terms of like mirroring that screen, you want to really just plug it into our Idaptic phone because that's where you're going to get all of those features that you're going to need to be able to see better, right? Rather than just mirroring. I hope that answers that question, Chris. Lots of really good questions. I love it. I love questions. Please send more if you have anything else. I hope I covered all of the basics here. I know we're starting to run low on time. We have a lot more information on our website. It's just idaptic.com. And I can, Steve, feel free to pass out my email or I can put it in the chat. If you guys have further questions, I'm happy to answer. I know someone early on asked about like warranty and all that stuff. So let me pull that question up again. Okay, so in terms of warranty, the Idaptic glasses have a 1-year warranty, covers normal manufacturing defects and wear and tear. If you have the glasses, you're in warranty and you have an issue, first you're going to contact Steve, see if he's able to help you, if it's something simple. If not, he would connect you with us and with our support team. If it was something that needed to be fixed or replaced, we'd have you send it back to us. You're in warranty, no problems. We'll fix, replace it, and send it back to you. Outside of warranty, there is an individual fee for that part. So for example, let's say you had an issue with the glasses, you're just paying a fee to replace the glasses. Or let's say there was an issue with the smartphone, you're just paying a fee to replace the smartphone rather than needing to buy like a whole new unit or something like that. Okay. Pricing, support, all that kind of stuff. I don't know if you want to jump in here, Steve, how you guys have set up. That would be through you guys. And someone asked about updates, if they're finite or lifelong. We as a company, we've been around for about 7 years. We've had a lot of different models come through, continuing to improve them. As I mentioned earlier, updates do happen automatically. If you have Ivy the Assistant and you're paying that subscription, or I think international, it's that 1 year, then those updates do happen automatically for Ivy. If you have just the i5, if we have like a bug or something like that, updates happen automatically. Like, you don't have to worry about any of that. At the moment, we're not adding like any new features to the i5 though. So there's not like new things coming out in terms of updates for the i5. Really, we're focusing right now on adding new features and new capabilities for the i6, and that's where those updates are included in that subscription, and they do happen automatically. Hope that answered that question, you guys.
Yeah, just to jump in about the pricing, we're currently set at, excuse me, 5,470 Canadian for the i5 or i6 glasses. Of course, the i6, you also need the subscription on top of it. And I'm sorry, Michaela, I've forgotten the subscription price.
That's okay. And I can get back to you guys if you want. I believe internationally we are doing it as a yearly fee for the subscription. And then we have the 2 tiers to choose from. But I have to check to see what options there are in terms of pricing for the international. But I can definitely let you know.
Okie dokie.
Okay. Any other last minute questions? Make sure I have the chat and Q&A open. Looks like that's it. Awesome. Well, thank you guys so much for having me. I hope that was a good overview of what we have at Idaptic. At the end of the day, what I'll tell you is I love my job because I get to make people cry in a good way, right? I've had people come in who they're seeing family members for the first time that they haven't seen in 20 years, right? So it isn't for everyone. You do want to, check with Steve to make sure you'd be a good candidate, or if you know someone that they're a good candidate for our glasses. But for the most part, if you kind of are in our target range, this can be absolutely life-changing for you. That's why I do what I do. I'll tell you a quick personal story. My grandma has AMD. That's why I got in this field in the first place. I was seeing her, decline over the last 20 years of being able to see me to now not even being able to see my face and tell which grandkid is which, right? I got married about 2 years ago. She'd never seen my husband's face, right? So she, because I'd met him after her vision had declined, she'd never seen him, right? She had great grandkids now. She'd never clearly seen their faces. She got a pair of our glasses this last Christmas. Actually, you guys will appreciate this. My mom's side of the family is Canadian. So this is my grandma who lives out in Canada. And they, grew up in Regina. And she has big card playing community out there. So she's super, super into cards, played cards her whole life. And that was one thing she really missed when her vision declined. She got a pair of our glasses this past Christmas, and she was able to play our family card game we play all the time for the first time on her own. And I don't know, probably 15 years. Which, was just incredibly emotional for us as a family. She was able to see my husband's face for the first time. She had never seen what he looked like, right? So that's my personal story. Like I said, get your demo, talk to Steve, see if it's a good option for you, or if you know someone. But, I hope that, what we can do, it's real. It really does help people. I'm not just here to try to sell it to you. I've seen it. That's why I love my job. So hopefully these glasses would be able to be something that can help you as well, or someone you know. Okay. Awesome. Well, thank you guys so much for having me. If you have any questions, I'll make sure Steve has my contact information that he can pass out. If you guys have questions, you can always give us a call as well. Our number's on our website. It'll take you to our awesome support team who's able to help you out with that as well. There's a lot of things on our website as well, more videos and all that. And and I just saw your comment. I appreciate it. Thank you. Yeah, she's there. She won't leave. We've tried to get her out to the warmer places, actually we've got family in Victoria. She was born and raised there, doesn't want to leave. So I'll definitely let you know if she needs anything. I appreciate it. Awesome. Anything else, Steve, while I'm here?
No, I think that's it. Thank you so much. This has been a really good overview of the product, and hopefully folks got what they were looking for. Just so everyone is aware, I do have 2 sets of the glasses for loan units, so that you can try them out before you buy them. I've got one that's set up with the Ivy, and one set that is not. So yeah, if you want to try them out, just let me know.
Awesome. All right, you guys, good luck, everyone. Thank you so much. And just let us know if you have any questions. And thanks for having us, Steve.
Thanks for coming.
Okay, talk to you guys later.
All righty.
Bye.
Bye-bye. All right, folks, that's it. I'm going to stop the recording here.